Korean War. Split of Korea. Korea was split into due to the Second World War when China became communist and tried to make Korea communist, but due to the Americans in the south of Korea, who were keeping Korea a capitalist country, weren't letting China have all of Korea. This led to the split of Korea along the 38th parallel. The split. North Korea was communist, like the USSR, and became known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK. Their ruler was Kim Il-sung. South Korea, capitalist like USA, became known as Republic of Korea, ROK. Their ruler was Syngman Rhee. USA's involvement. The Truman Doctrine stated that the US promised to help a country under the threat of communism. In 1949, USA lost China to communism. This was a disaster as USA lost lots of money and support. The USA believed the USSR was to blame, thinking the USSR influenced the North to invade the South and thought the USSR wanted to extend their power. The policy of containment meant to stop communism from spreading and to use military if needed. McCarthyism was when Senator Joe McCarthy, a politician in America, stated that the US state parliament is filled with communists. This led Truman to send military to Korea as the US was scared of communism. USSR's involvement. Stalin had no desire to fight the USA. In 1950, Dean Atkinson stated that America did not protect South Korea. Stalin had a rivalry with Communist China because Mao, China's leader, thought he was more powerful than the USSR. There were lead shortages in the USSR and South Korea was rich in lead. Stalin wanted to secure the borders of the USSR to protect itself from invasion. China's involvement. Mao also had no desire to fight the USA. He was alarmed by MacArthur's decision to cross the 38th parallel as the USA was getting closer to China. The US had support from KMI, an anti-communist group, and Taiwan. There were also hostile comments from MacArthur influenced the idea to invade China. Invasion. North invades the South. June 15, 1950, North Korea acted out its aims by invading the South. Within days, Seoul, the South's capital, was captured. The invasion thought to be encouraged by Stalin, hoping to spread communism. There erected the worries of the domino effect in Asia. The USA asked the UN to intervene. The UN responded to USA's request by putting together a military force to help the US with the invasion. The UN's response. The USSR were unable to say no to the UN's actions of helping the USA in Korea. This was in protest to the USA's refusal to let China to sit upon the UN Security Council. The UN forces landed in Incheon, neighbouring city of Seoul, in September 1950. Before long, the UN forces had pushed the North Korean forces back over the 38th parallel. The UN forces were now exceeding their UN orders, and General MacArthur, the man put in charge of the UN forces, whom was from USA, wanted to reunite Korea as a whole. China was still being ignored by USA, and China issued a warning to the UN for the consequences of its actions. China's response. China's fear of invasion became known when MacArthur pushed as far as the Yulai River. Over 250,000 Chinese troops, known as volunteers, invaded North Korea in November 1950 and pushed the UN forces back over the 38th parallel. What began as war between North Korea and South Korea has now become open conflict between USA and China. MacArthur wanted to use nuclear weapons, but Truman went ahead and continued containment. The war went back and forth over the 30th parallel until 1951 when it took to the skies. This went on for 2 years. The aerial battles were kept from US citizens so there wouldn't be a demand for a war against the USSR. The end of the war. Peace talks began in June 1951, but no solution was found. 1953 there was a change in leadership for the USSR and the USA, which made peace looking promising. USSR's new leader was Khrushchev, and USA's new leader was President Eisenhower. The new leaders sought peace, and a ceasefire was agreed at Panmunjom, July 1953. A peace treaty was never signed, but the agreement saw the creation of a permanent border and a demilitarized zone between the two states. Korea remained divided, and there was a death toll of 2 million, but was mostly Korean and Chinese soldiers and citizens. Only 30,000 US servicemen died in the Korean War.